Okay, yep, I see it. All right, so we welcome to class tonight. Know it's the end of December. Hopefully some of you are already off, but I know a lot of teachers, this is their last day. I have got some, I think that tomorrow is their last day. So yes, I know it's the end of the month and here we are, but we're gonna get started. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. And I'm going to also welcome all of our people who will be watching this recording, because can you guys see it okay? There are a lot of people who are traveling or out of town. And so they are going to be joining us when they can in the month. So I hope everyone's doing okay. I know there's a lot going on right now, but we have, I think, some really good things to talk about tonight. So I think this will be worth your while to be here. Just as we get started, I just want to talk about how kind of what our agenda looks like for tonight. So we're going to just revisit last month, talk about the movie, really just your filming of yourself and peers goals. And then we're going to talk about something called the Mirage, confronting the hard truth about our quest for teacher development. We're going to spend most of our time tonight talking about teacher development. And then we are really going to dive into the teacher professional learning standards, and then kind of finalize what you'll be doing for the rest of this module, unit 4. So anyway, so let's just start by talking about your movie, your recording. How did your video recordings go, and what did you learn from them? We're not going to do a breakout, but if you had a good experience or a bad experience, go ahead and unmute and share how it went.
I can share my experience. So I was filming myself doing a new vocabulary routine. So I found it really helpful because it's not something I'd been familiar teaching before. So I loved doing it at the beginning to kind of tweak it. But I found that the questions to guide us as we watched the videos were really helpful, and I needed that to focus myself on the teaching and not like my hair or my outfit or how I said certain things. So it kind of just showed me why those were important, which I don't think I understood just how needed they were for someone like me anyway, to have that focus so that I was looking at the right things during the video. So it was super helpful.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I was thinking that too. I remember even when I was doing my student teaching, I had to do a video of myself, and it was just so awkward and uncomfortable. And I thought, I wished I had those questions to kind of guide that at that time,
Yeah, exactly. I think without the questions, you end up kind of off on the wrong thing. So they are
Yeah,
super helpful.
yeah, that's great. Anyone else?
I can share. So we have the awesome opportunity to work alongside Michelle Harris this year. And so we've done the 10 questions, but I've never really been on the receiving side. And I've done it with teachers, but you forget how quickly it can move. And so it was really nice because it's not a long drawn out process. But what I love about it is it really narrows when you're making those peers goals, helps you narrow it to one specific, targetable, measurable goal. And so instead of changing my whole approach, I can maybe just tweak one tiny thing, and it just makes it doable and not so overwhelming.
I love that. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to drop a link in the chat let's see, maybe if I can find my chat. That's the thing, is I have so many screens going, I can't figure out what I'm doing. I watched a video that was done by Jim Knight, and he made this quote. He says, when you push the record button, you move away from a culture of talk to a culture of action. And what you just said, Michelle, reminded me of that, because we do a lot of talking when we are coaching sometimes, or we're in meetings a lot, right? We do a lot. But when we push that record button, we're actually going to do something and other than just talk. We're going to look at this. We're going to take what we're learning from this and move away from just talking more to action. So I'm going to share that video with you in a minute when I can. I'll drop that in the thing. But anyway, any other thoughts about the recording your video experience?
I'll share. I had the chance to review my video with my mentor, my coaching mentor, and I found it helpful because it almost gave me a little bit of validation that I wasn't like totally off base with how I was coaching.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely gave me some things that I noticed and that I really want to work on, but it also was helpful to kind of validate what I was doing well, and just gave me some areas of some things that I could do to focus better.
Thanks, Emily. I also think another positive thing about doing it with if you're with a teacher and you're going to record yourself meeting with them, it shows the teacher that you also are vulnerable and want to learn and improve through the use of this video. So it's a great model for them as well. Okay, thanks. All right, let's just keep going. We're going to talk about peer schools next. So what do you guys think about peer schools? I'm just curious. I've always been very knowledgeable about SMART goals, but I'm just wondering what you think about peer skills, maybe versus SMART goals, and what do you think?
One thing I wanted to add here is I know some districts have a policy of using SMART goals. I know I was just with the Duchesne district, and their district has a policy. They use SMART goals, and you can use them interchangeably in your coaching. So getting to know these peers goals are great, and just adjusting SMART goals, because that might be your district's decision. If not, peers is a little bit more structured. I just wanted to throw that out in case any of you are in those districts.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. That's great. Is anyone use SMART goals in their district versus peers goals, or does anyone use peers goals? That's a good question too, right? So Angela says, I like the emotionally compelling component of the peer schools. Yeah, me too, Angela, I really do. And the peer schools are student focused. It takes the focus of what the teacher is doing and onto student performance from the chat. That's great. Yeah, that's what I like as well. And I think understanding SMART goals is valuable and it's great. But I personally think, as far as our setting as coaches, that the peer schools just fit so nicely into what we're doing in the situations that we're in. All right, anyone else? Thoughts about the peers goal? I think it just cracks me up how many acronyms there are in education, and I struggle sometimes remembering them. I know some people are really good at remembering acronyms, and I'm not. I don't know why. It's something I should probably work on, but I do love. We're going to look at some peers goals, and we're going to, talk about them and whether they're powerful or not. So let's. So when we look at the P for peers, it's powerful. Will this goal really make a difference in students' lives? And so, again, this is where video really comes in, because it's giving us the real reality of what's really happening in the classroom. And it helps us, understand the problem. And then it ensures that the proposed goal will be meaningful and that it will address the problem. So if we move on to the E, the first E, easy, is this going to be something that's doable? And a lot of times I think sometimes we set goals and they're not doable. We really have to believe that this is going to happen, that we could hit this goal. Emotionally compelling. The book, Impact Cycle, talks about, I think it was Chip and Dan Heath who talk about the elephant and the rider. Have you guys read that book? I think is it Switch? You could nod in your head. They've written several books, and I'm trying to think, if it's Switch that one was in or not. Do you remember? I can't remember. But anyway, Chip and Dan Heath, they're the ones who came up with the elephant and the rider. And if you think about, if we are a rider on an elephant, which that'd be pretty cool. Has anyone ridden an elephant before? I know people. Oh yeah, see. So if we are an elephant on a rider, and so Diane has ridden an elephant before. Diane, if you wanted that elephant to go the opposite way of its food, how successful would you be in getting it to go that way?
Probably I wouldn't be successful because I had a guide in front of me in Thailand when we were riding elephants.
Yeah.
That was then guiding because they were masters at guiding.
Right. Yeah, that's true. So, the elephant is the emotional side of us. We all kind of have that elephant. And then we have the rider, which is the rational side. I like to think about this like right this time of year with all the chocolate that is in my house. Rationally, I know I should not be eating all these treats, but emotionally, my elephant is winning right now, So anyway, when we think about these peers goals, if the goal is emotionally compelling, then it's going to win out, right? Over rational. So that's why I don't remember who said it, but you liked the emotional compelling component of the peers goals. I'm trying to look at the chat too while we're reading. Yeah, Mike Flynn. Yeah, Michelle. Mike Flynn used this analogy, and that's where I took that book. I went to that coaching class with Mike Flynn and read the book. I'm pretty sure it's Switch. It's a really good book. Yeah, thanks, Lisa. Okay, you guys are great. All right, so the R is reachable. So is this do we have an idea of where we want to be using data or whatever it is to reach this goal? Today if we think about the impact that we can have on student learning, we want these goals to be reachable. We don't want it to just be a waste of our time to create a goal, but then not be able to reach it. And I think another key word here is agency. This goal, the teacher needs to be the one really who has agency over reaching this goal. They're the ones who have to achieve it, and so they need to also be the ones who set the goal. And then the specific the timeline and all that kind of goes right along with SMART goals.
Potatoes for Christmas Eve.
All right. So now, and then the S for the peers goal is student focused. It is, which is another thing that I really love about the peers goals, is the effective goals are student rather than teacher focused. So examples of student focused versus teacher focused goals. Can you guys think of some? I know I've had teachers, the goal is that they ask a certain number of questions, right? That's kind of more teacher focused. What would be an example of some more student focused goals?
Teresa, it says on page 71, student focus, the students, let's see, students, on average, at least 90% of our students would be on task on average during reading or the reader's workshop time.
Okay, yeah. So that is a student focused goal. Any other thoughts about that? 100% of students will engage in the guided practice portion of the phonics framework. I love that. That's student focused. Could it be a exit ticket, something that the students have to achieve, but they do it on an exit ticket or something like that? Good. Any other thoughts about the student focused? All right, we're going to keep going. So we're going to look at some peers goals that were shared. So I want you to consider, what would it take to accomplish these goals and how does it utilize the peers criteria? So here we go with the goals. So this one is promote, oh, sorry, I've got to move my, there we go. Promote and foster self-starting independent skills for a specific student by implementing specific instructions and guidelines, but then following up indirectly through paraprofessionals, staff on site, family, etc. What do you think about that as a peers goal? Does it meet, is it powerful? Is it easy? Is it emotionally compelling? I see some head shaking. You can unmute and tell us what you're thinking.
Well, I'm wondering for reachable, how you would know when you got to that goal. Like, it doesn't feel like a clear finish line. And so I think you might fall into that good enough category, or be like, well, I put a lot of effort into implementing these things. Like, I don't know that it's very clear on that end.
Right. Very good. Okay, let's look at another one. To increase wait time to 8 to 10 seconds between teacher, question, inquiry, and student response in structured and more natural occurring environments. What do you think about that?
I think you can measure, yeah.
Oh, go for it.
You're good, Mackenzie, go.
I was just gonna say that one's more like a teacher-centered one, because it's hard to see what the impact on the students is going to be from that. That feels more like a strategy to meet a goal than the actual student goal.
Great. Very good. Okay, let's keep going. I will increase student involvement and engagement through explaining and modeling expectations of what happens when I read a story.
I don't think it's measurable
Mm-hmm.
at all.
Right.
And it's teacher focused.
Yes. Definitely teacher focused. How about this one? The director will create reflection guides or distribute rubrics to guide conversation during small work groups and help individuals reflect on their discussion when summarizing to the rest of the group. Again, some of these might be powerful, but a lot of them aren't easy. Most of them are not student focused, right? Let's try another one. When working with teachers that have lower language students, I will model language strategies if they are not sure how to work with lower language students. If they feel comfortable, I will support them by tracking expressive language opportunities to help them see how often they are pulling language from the students. This is more probably a coach. And the goal is, the peer's goal is like the student is her or the teacher she's working with. But what do you think about this one? I see some heads nodding, like shaking, not nodding. We're gonna keep going. Okay, so this one, this is our reminder. A peer's goal may be student focused, but it's not student led. Your goal should still be about what you do to help students achieve more. So I think that's a really great reminder. And then this one, it's hard to be emotionally detached from students we work with as they are the reason we do the work that we do. So finding ways to leave, I'm just going to go out of this one. Okay, so for the next 7 minutes, we're going to go into a breakout room, and I want you in your breakout room to discuss how you think video could work for your coaching, the educators that you're coaching. And then how do you think video could work for your own development? And then in your group, share your peers' goal that came from your experience from this assignment. Okay, so 7 minutes. Jason, can you start our breakout rooms? All right, is everybody back? So when hopefully you have a little bit better understanding what a peer's goal is, but if you want to go, follow that link that I put in the chat. That is just a short, I think it's about 30 minutes of gym night, specifically talking about peers' goals. And it's probably worth it if you're still a little bit wondering about them. So, all right.
Dave.
This meeting is being recorded.
Oh.
All right. Thanks. We're back. So we've got let's see. Okay, so here is our little board for you to share in one sentence an insight that you gained from watching your own video. Yeah, some of those end up getting.
Teresa, can you remind me how to get into the Nearpod? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. It is on the Canvas page.
Canvas, okay.
And then, yeah, so if you go in there and go to module 4.
Go into module 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You'll see the link to the Nearpod.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome, no problem.
Let's see.
Diane, what module did she say? Module 3?
Module 4.
Okay. And then we hit on, what do we hit on, a Nearpod? See?
Yeah, you'll see if you go into the Canvas page, you'll see module 4, and then it will show the live participation for the Nearpod.
Oh, live meeting materials. So you click
Mhm.
on the Nearpods for recording Nearpod presentation, right?
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, I should always remind everybody how to get there. because I know I have to do things multiple times when we've only had class 4 times.
Ah,
Right, so I'm just like to call on Heidi, if you don't mind sharing. Heidi, you said you need to ask more open-ended questions. How did you figure this out from your video?
Sorry. So I just one of my goals was more opportunities to respond, and just like I don't want low level question responses,
Yeah.
right? I want them to think and so one of the things I decided to do is just try to ask more why questions because they're always complex. So it's something I can do without having to put a lot of thought ahead of time into which questions I'm asking. Because, I don't know, a lot of times I'm like teaching something I didn't even know I was going to be teaching till right before. So I don't know, using why questions sort of gives me that ability to be asking more open-ended questions.
Yeah, that's great. Let's see. Trish, can you elaborate on what you said? Your memory of your lesson is not always the reality of what's really happened during your lesson. Tell me about that.
So, you think, because you plan your lesson and you think that it goes according to plan, but when you go back and try to just reflect on your lesson on your own, I just find with myself, when I have videotaped myself, I always find things that I'm like, oh, I thought I did that and I didn't. And in this particular circumstance, I was teaching 2 back-to-back groups. In a 30-minute block, I was teaching 2 15-minute ones. I only videotaped one of the 15-minute lessons. I videotaped the second one, and I thought that I had stated my learning target, but I had not.
Right.
And so I noticed the kids were more worried about what was happening in the classroom with the other kids in the class in that particular group. But when I was reflecting before I watched the video, I full on thought that I had stated like our learning target and our objectives, but I realized I had not done that. And so, it just caused me to reflect and think, oftentimes our memory is not as good as we think it is. And I've noticed this as I have, coached with other people when they have allowed me to videotape them, that's always an aha that they thought they had done something. Their memory plays little tricks on us at times because the planning, you can't always remember everything that happens. So that was a big thing because I full on I had stated my learning targets and hadn't, and no wonder the kids didn't know what the Sam Hill we were doing.
Yeah, that's great. It gives you, and I'm glad, I know some of you videoed yourself teaching to children, and others videoed yourself coaching. And I think it's valuable for you to do both, to put yourself in the teacher's shoes as the teacher is really valuable, and it shows that you're willing to do that. It shows that means a lot to teachers, right? But then also, if you want to be a better coach, then video your coaching session with teachers. And I noticed like a lot of you are saying things like, I think, when you're trying to elicit more other responses from the teachers instead of them getting what you think. You want to know what they think, right? Things like that. Let's see what else. Anyway, yeah, I think it's so valuable that we use this video. And I really hope this isn't something that you will just do for this assignment, that maybe make it a goal. January's coming up. We've got I know some districts have professional development right off the bat, right when we come back after Christmas break. If you are, a coach or an administrator that is providing professional development, video yourself giving that. I want you to I'm just going to challenge you guys to do this, and I will do it as well, because I actually have a meeting on the 2nd of January with some teachers. So I'm going to say to them, do you mind if I video myself? I want to get better at coaching, and I think it gives you a lot of street cred if you if you are willing to do that. So okay, we're going to move on. We're going to talk about the Mirage, and this is fascinating. Anyone familiar with this research? It's a study. I'm excited for you. You're going to read it as part of your work for module 4. It came from, it used to be known as TNTP, formerly the New Teacher Project. And the goal was ensuring that students in vulnerable communities have access to effective teachers through impacting the systems that promote teacher effectiveness. So they now, instead of it just being for new teachers, this is for all teachers. And I'm going to show a video that will kind of introduce this project for you.
Sadly, that it's not that simple.
Whoops. Hold on, let me start over. Here we go.
Good morning. My name is Carolyn Belcher, and I'm the president of TNTP. It's a pleasure to welcome you all here today for the launch of our newest national study, the Mirage. For those of you who are less familiar with TNTP, we are a national not-for-profit which is focused on helping school districts. Of course, now I'm going to forget the elevator speech, which I know very well. It's the panic. For those of you less familiar with TNTP, we are a national not-for-profit that's focused on ending educational inequality and helping our school district partners achieve their goals for students. We work at every level of the system, from schools to states to districts, helping train and prepare talented teachers and school leaders, ensuring engaging and rigorous classrooms, and creating environments that focus and prioritize effective teaching and accelerating student learning. This is a big day for us. This report is particularly important to all of us at TNTP because it's focused on improving the quality of teaching, which is core to what we do. It's personal to us. It's certainly personal to me. I've been in the sector now for 25 years. I started first as a teacher and then as a school leader and then training teachers. In that time, I've seen the power of effective professional development to transform classrooms and create real opportunities for kids. I've also seen too much professional development that was dull, ineffective, and just didn't help teachers out. Over the last decade, we at TNTP have trained over 34,000 teachers. We've worked to help our clients address many factors that set teachers apart from success, from the content of what they're doing, to classroom environments, to ensuring the policies at the state and district level support their work. Our experience in teacher development has led us to question whether we and others in the field truly understand what works to help teachers improve. Like so many others, we believed we needed to figure out the particular approach or combination of things that could help the most teachers improve. We were looking for the silver bullet. So we made teacher development the focus of our next national research study, and we're thrilled to release that report today. The Mirage looks at teachers and school districts and organizations like ours and trying to figure out what we could do better to help teachers improve. The report is a result of a 2-year effort. We surveyed over 10,000 teachers and over 500 school principals, hoping to create a clear blueprint of for helping teachers succeed in the classroom. And we found, sadly, that it's not that simple.
All right. So that's an introduction. This was a study that was done over 2 years. 10,000 teachers and 500 school leaders were surveyed. 100 staff members were involved in teacher development. They were interviewed. 3 school districts representing representative of large public school systems nationwide. And they were looking for teachers who improved substantially, and they wanted to know what attributes or experiences did they have in common. The amount of development, the qualities of their schools, mindset about growth, all those things they were looking at. And so this report is something, I think it's about 75 pages long. It's pretty long, but it's going to be what you read for module 4. And it's fascinating. It's kind of really, if you let it, this report can really impact your school and your situation and you as a instructional coach. So it, the professional development definition used was broadly includes efforts to improve teachers carried out by district schools and teachers themselves. So what did they find? So most discussions about teacher development presume that we already know the answer. Of course, we know what good professional development looks like. We just haven't been able to do it at a scale for all teachers. So after an exhaustive search, we were disappointed not to find what we hoped we would. Instead, what we found challenged our assumptions. And so this is a little bit, another little video that is a little bit of a summary of some of the things that they found. Sorry, I guess.
It mirrors our experience with professional development in DC public schools. When we got there in 2007, we were paying all kinds of random consultants lots of money to do whatever they wanted to do, and teachers could choose whatever. And we had no idea what return on investment looked like. And teachers, we were clear, teachers weren't growing. And so we pulled back a bunch of our PD money. And so we're just going to not spend until we figure out the right thing to spend it on. And we worked on aligning everything with our teaching and learning framework, which was how we wanted teachers to teach. And I think that was the right first move for us, but it wasn't enough, because that really is about growing teachers pedagogically. And we actually saw good growth. We have a UVA study, UVA and Stanford, that says that as a result of the efforts that we put in place to align our professional development with our teaching and learning framework, that teachers were actually growing. But I think what we came to realize is just growing teachers pedagogically gets you this much bang for the buck, and the real action is in the content sector, right? And so until you're able to really get into deep, customized, differentiated professional development for teachers around what they are actually teaching, which necessitates a curriculum in place, right? Which we also didn't have at the time. Then you're not going to hit the heart of teacher improvement, right? And so when I think about how we've evolved over the last 7 or 8 years, we've gone from, really professional development focused on pedagogy to professional development focused on content, recognizing that not all 9th grade history teachers even are at the same place. And so you've got to differentiate within that content area, but there's a huge rock in the middle of that, which is a curriculum, right? And I think that that's an important piece as you suss all of this out. I also think there are a couple of things missing here. So I think there's a huge, I wish there was a union panelist on at the table, because a lot of the professional development that districts get forced to implement are negotiated contractually, right? So we got lots of people doing lots of things, in part because the union also wants to develop good teachers, and they have a set idea of how that needs to happen, mentor teachers or instructional coaches or whatever. And so you end up spending millions of dollars on personnel, right? And we all know that personnel in and of itself is not good unless you have good personnel, right? So you could have an instructional coach for every single school building, but if they're not all very, very good, then it defeats the purpose. I think there's also a huge challenge that we have to get through that the report doesn't sort of mention, and it is that there is or has always been a disconnect around what teachers think they need to learn and what their supervisors want and need them to learn. And so I think we've got to get to some shared agreement around what that is. Otherwise, you'll always see, teachers saying that they think that the professional development is not good or not right. I also think that sometimes teachers don't realize all of the things that go into the professional development bucket. So I hear teachers say, my curriculum specialist is awesome, but PD sucks. Well, they're talking about the 1 day a month PD that we know is not the best way for PD delivery, but those curriculum specialists, I'm paying millions of dollars for, right? And that too is PD. And so I think we have to get to a much more nuanced discussion around what is and what is not PD. I think at the end of the day, I'll say one more point. I also think that we have I think we have to rethink whose responsibility PD is. We are one of a few industries where it is incumbent upon the employer to provide the professional development for the employees to do their jobs well. And in lots of other professions, it is incumbent upon the employee to make sure that they have the skills needed to be successful in the job. And I think that there's an in-between, that a happy medium. But I feel like whenever, teachers are not successful, the first question is, you didn't give me enough professional development. Oh, right. The professional development that you hate, right? That I'm paying millions for, or the coaches that and so I think that we have to get to a different sense of a shared responsibility for what teachers are doing to pursue their own level of professional excellence, and then how much responsibility districts or charter management organizations or whoever are responsible for providing. I think the good news about all of this is when TNTP does a report, it shines a bright light on a problem, and then people start scrambling to fix it, right? And so I think what this will help all of us do is think very critically about how we spend our professional development dollars and begin to implement differently to get to a better answer.
All right. Okay. Was it frozen for you guys?
Hello, go ahead.
Oh, good. Okay.
No, I'm just packing my bag. And
Oh,
then
no.
I'm running out. So.
Oh,
yeah.
no problem. Okay, so.
Oh, no, I just.
All right, let's see. I'm trying to. My screen is frozen on my. Hold on.
Teresa.
Yeah.
It wasn't frozen.
Oh, good.
We were able to listen to it.
I'm glad, because I could hear it, but my screen is totally frozen, and now I can't move to the next slide.
And Teresa, I just wanted to say I thought that was really interesting because we just had a meeting the other day in our district, and it talked about professional development, and what they were saying is that the effect size of professional development is pretty much next to nothing if it's only just the professional development. They were talking about how you need a coach then to step in with that professional development that the teachers just received, and then work hand in hand really together to make that professional development be what it was supposed to be and what it was intended to do.
Absolutely. Yes, for sure. And that's exactly where we're going. For some reason, like I said, my screen is frozen. So let's take like a 4-minute break. And I want to just talk about this idea that we have of of professional development and professional learning. I dropped in the link of where I've gone to here. Let me go back. This is also, you'll see the link for this in module 4, but this is the Mirage, and you're going to download the report and read through it. But just kind of some of the points right here. School systems are making a massive and laudable investment in teacher improvement, far larger than most people realize. Yet most teachers do not appear to improve substantially from year to year, even though many have not yet mastered critical skills. We found no evidence that any particular kind or amount of professional development consistently helps teachers improve. School systems are failing to help teachers understand how to improve, or even that they have room to improve at all. This is, really fascinating stuff. I think it's, I'm excited for you guys to read it, and you're going to read it and do a discussion board about it. So we're going to do a breakout room, and this time I'm going to make a screenshot of this and then share this out to you in your breakout room. But you're going to think about a professional learning course, activity, session, or experience that you consider valuable or that has improved your practice and your mindset. And then think about that and then answer these questions. Why do you think it was so effective? Why did it have the power to impact your practice or mindset? And so you're going to share this in your breakout group for 8 minutes. And I'm going to try and pop in this time. I've just been having some technical difficulties. Just when I think I've got this figured out, technology throws me another loop. Remember, I'm not a technology coach. So anyway, so let's go to our breakout rooms for 8 minutes, and I will broadcast this, or at least put this on the these questions on the chat. All right, almost everybody's back. That was great. I was able to pop into most of your breakout rooms. I heard some great conversations going.
This meeting is being recorded.
And it sounds to me, just from what I was able to hear from your conversations, that a lot of you have been able to pinpoint a very some good professional development that you've been involved in. I think one of the main reasons why we can say it was good is because we have been exposed to a lot of really bad professional development, right? We're used to a lot of the one and done kind of thing, or the fire hose. I heard that word in multiple breakout rooms, where we just get all this information and then we don't know how to implement it or apply it in the classroom. And so we're going to talk about, let's see, I gotta reshare, don't I? About that, what is it that makes professional learning impactful? So on the Collaborate board, go ahead and share your thoughts. Getting up and participating, engaging activities, opportunities to follow up. These are all really great. Time to plan and support with implementation. Focus on teachers' need as well as putting them in the learner seat. I love that. Reflection. Something that is meaningful. direct application to the classroom, opportunities to see it and try it out. So these are all fantastic ideas. Just a couple that kind of stand out to me as I kind of look at this and look at or think about what was said in the groups was that it's ongoing. It's not just a one and done. It's something that's continuing, and it is when the presenter, whoever, can meet teachers where they are instead of just saying, you know, you have to fit into this box of this presentation that I have brought today. And you know, that's not that helpful. But when they can meet us where we are, then I think that really works. All right, we're going to keep going because remember I promised we were going to get out early tonight. The Utah Professional Learning Standards. So these, this is a comprehensive, sustained, and evidence-based approach to improving teachers and principals' effectiveness in raising student achievement. When we think about student achievement, though, if you are a Hattie fan or you have been an educator at all in the past 10 years, you probably know what Hattie says is the number one, has the number one impact on student learning. I'm just curious if you guys know the answer. What do you think that Hattie says is the number one impact on student learning? Anyone know that? Anyone want to be brave?
Is it teacher efficacy?
Yes, you just got 5 gold stars. Very good. It is teacher efficacy. And, you know, when you think about teacher efficacy, it's not just, I mean, I think there's more to it than just saying, you know, yes, I believe that every student can learn, right? And, you know, having a growth mindset, all that is important. But I really think that it is a combined belief, really truly believing that we are the cause of student learning. Teachers are the cause of student learning. And we can't just say that. We have to truly believe it. And when you have this, this efficacy, teacher efficacy, you are able to overcome some of the excuses for student not learning, whether it's their home environment or anything, you know, about them. It doesn't matter, because if you truly have teacher efficacy, then you believe that you are the reason why kids are learning or not learning, and there's no excuses. So with that in mind, we're going to look at the professional learning standards. And I know, I don't know how, can you guys see everybody's names, or is it just me?
We can see them on the screen you shared.
I'm trying to figure out.
Well, we can't see them on our
on your
my
thing.
side.
Oh, I
It's
see.
on your screen. So if you go off of that screen, we won't
Yeah.
see them.
Okay. But if I go off of it, then you can't do it. That's the problem. Here, I'll stop sharing. That's what I'll do. I'll stop sharing for a minute, and then I will share the results out. So how familiar are you with the professional learning standards? There's no judgment. I don't want you guys to feel worried that you know, that you're not very familiar with this.
I turned off their names.
Oh, thanks, Jason.
So you can go back and share.
I can go back.
Everyone's anonymous now.
Okay, thanks.
Just so you know, we can see everybody's answers. It's not anonymous on your side. I mean, it's not a big deal, but just so you know, if you go up in the upper right-hand corner, hit student view while you're sharing your screen, and it will just show what we see. And And then when you're done, you can just unshare and share out the results to us and go back to it. Just a thought.
Thank you. See, I told you I'm not very technologically advanced. It won't let me go up there. Anyway, we'll just go ahead and move on. It's really great though. I mean, I think these professional learning standards that are now kind of the state standard are very powerful and can have a really good impact on teaching. And I really like that they're using the term professional learning instead of professional development. That puts a little bit more on the learner, on the teacher to be a learner. Instead of something happening to them, they have to take some responsibility for learning. So on this slide, what can stop a professional learning designer and facilitator from making a lasting impact on quality teaching? What do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
Get ready. I'm on a meeting still. It is 4:44. So I need you to get ready for softball. Why are you taking my watch thing? Yeah, it's not gonna do anything for you.
I need to
go get softball ready. Oh, tell Dad you need to eat something, Jolie. We're all just gonna eat pasta, so go make something real fast. Sandwich or something. Yes, there's one.
Yeah, so some of the things, I mean, like Perry said, if the purpose of the professional learning isn't clear, just like our learning targets with our students, if we don't make it clear what we want the teachers to learn, then they're not going to learn it. If teachers don't trust you, I think that's great. If there's no application, all these things, I love this. Right now, I know everybody's involved in letters, and I do letters training for the region. And so I get to go to different school districts all over the northeastern part of Utah. And it's so amazing to me the difference that it can make for depending on the district, what it looks like in different districts, because some of them really are requiring the teachers to follow up and implement these things in their classroom, and others are just letting the teachers jump through the hoop and getting it done. And the districts that are really taking letters training serious and giving that application piece, I think are really going to be grateful that they are, because they're going to see more of an impact in their district. All right, we're going to keep going here. So what are the Utah's professional learning standards? Where did they come from? Why do we need them? And what's required of us in using these standards in our own situations? So there are 8 Utah professional learning standards. They are learning communities, skillful leaders, resources, data, learning design, implementation, outcomes, and technology. And so these standards are different than from other standards. We used to have the other professional learning standards. These ones are different in that they are not content standards or performance standards, but they are design standards for professional learning. They are supportive of effective professional learning in any content, any level. It doesn't matter, in person, asynchronous, synchronous, virtual, all of those, any settings. And so I'm going to have you do this next one. Highlight in green the professional learning standards that we are doing well with. And then highlight in your setting, in your school. Highlight in red the standards that you could improve with. It's interesting because looks, there's everybody's kind of all over, but there's always room for improvement, isn't there? And some of you, it looks like your districts are doing great in professional learning communities and, leadership. Some of you are not. So this is really great. Lisa, I can see you've got a question mark by learning design, and which is really great because that's the third class of this course, the instructional coaching courses. It's going to really focus on that. So that will answer that. But all right. So where did these standards come from? The Utah State Board of Education, with support from Learning Forward, these standards call for a new form of educator learning. The decision to call these standards for professional learning rather than standards for professional development signals the importance of educators taking an active role in their continuous improvement and places the emphasis on the learning. So what do you think an active role, what does it look like when an educator is taking an active role in their continuous improvement? As you're reading through people's comments, you can heart them if you agree with that as well. All right, I'm going to pick on Lisa Perry. Will you kind of elaborate a little bit on your thoughts? I don't think I've picked on you tonight yet.
Sorry, I had to get back to my screen.
You're fine.
No, just I've moved from one district to a charter school now, and just being the difference in being engaged in your PLC, not just going to PLC meetings and showing data, but actually using the data and implementing it into your teaching, and then discussing in the PLC as a whole team how you can improve on that and how one class is doing better than another and how you can work together. And then when you have professional developments, you don't just go and then put the book on the shelf and don't revisit it until you have the training again. And you actually foster and try to implement and take ideas from the trainings.
Yeah, it is, if you ever have the opportunity to go to a new district or a new school, it is eye-opening, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse, as to where they are in that process, especially the PLC process. But that is, you know, that the farther along they are in that, the easier it is for an educator to take their active role in their continuous improvement.
Well,
All
and
right.
it's not a competition. It's you're working together to better the kids. It's not a competition.
Right. Exactly. All right. Good. Anyone else have any comments they want to say about this? All right, we're going to move on. So the professional learning standards in Utah code, these 8 standards are woven into, they should be woven into all professional learning for educators. And so if you submit a proposal to USBE or you want credit through MIDAS, the process is that you have to go through and describe how the proposed professional learning provides fidelity to the learning standards. And that's a board rule. So why do we need these professional learning standards? Because researchers have found that it can take 50 or more hours of sustained professional learning to realize results for students. So that's good. If you're in letters, you know it's taking 50 or more hours. So hopefully that's probably why it's making a difference. If we look at the relationship between professional learning and student results, you can see the arrows kind of going both directions, but if we have standards-based professional learning, it impacts change in educator knowledge and skills and dispositions, and changes in educators' practice can impact changes in educator knowledge and skills. You know, so the arrows are going in, you know, they're reciprocal, it's back and forth. And ultimately, when we see this relationship, it makes an impact on student results. So what is required of us as providers of professional learning? And I've been thinking about this a lot today. I think, again, we go back to the teacher efficacy, collective teacher efficacy. As leaders in our schools or coaches, if we can help, whatever we can do to help that belief along in your school, will have an impact. But one way of doing that, I think, would be to get teachers to be vulnerable enough and courageous enough to be open to learning. I've been doing this coaching long enough to have experienced the teacher who comes and they already know everything, right? They do not really think that they need to be there. And so my challenge is always, or my goal, whenever I'm providing professional learning experiences for teachers, is to help kind of break down that little wall. Like there's always something more to learn. And I've had several wonderful teachers that I've been involved with throughout my career who even some in their very last years before they retire, are still so anxious and excited about the professional learning that can happen and that can take place. But I just thought, we want teachers to be vulnerable. We want them to be courageous, so that they're open to learning. If they are not and if we're not providing that space, that safe space for them to be vulnerable and courageous, then it's not going to happen. So what do we want for our educators? We want equity. We want access to relevant professional learning in a personalized, meaningful way. And I heard this in a couple of the breakout groups. Personalized, meaningful. These are key words. We want them to have high expectations for themselves, met through clear, intentional, desired professional learning outcomes. So our goals, again, this was talked about in the breakout session. So I'm preaching to the choir. You guys already know all this. We want, as far as dispositions, what kind of dispositions do we want from our educators? We want a commitment to students, readiness to learn, collective efficacy, again, for students and for the professional learning of one another. And then implementing the professional learning standards. Remember, these are the 8 standards here. They're, obviously long-term, we would want all professional learning facilitators in Utah and designers to be fluent in these standards. And, middle term, we want all USBE provided professional learning to incorporate these standards. And short term, we want instructional coaches in this cohort to be learning what these standards are so that you can use them in your professional learning situations. I'm going to skip because that's not supposed to be in there. So this is the teaching and learning website. I'm just going to go ahead and click on this and show you this. If you go to this website, you can see the professional learning standards right here. And this is the professional learning standards planning template. And it opens up as a Google Doc. And this is something that you will be using to the next time that you provide professional learning for your school, you're going to want to fill this out because it's just really good practice, but it's also an assignment coming up that you will be able to show how the professional learning that you're providing meets all of these different standards. So let's see, let me go back to our meeting. And the link for this also is in module 4. You'll see it. So I think it's really important, just kind of as we're getting near the end here, that we remember the why. In order for professional learning to be effective, it requires the supports that the professional learning standards enable. So we can build knowledge of these standards into our meetings by explicitly introducing them. And maybe that's going to be your next professional learning experience that you have with your teachers, is teaching them about these standards, or maybe working with your administration to make sure they know about these standards. Also, we can support leadership, helping building professional learning in their focus as they weave these standards into the professional learning that they provide for teachers in their schools. So professional learning standards are, we want them to be intentionally incorporated into the design and not just a checking off the box as an afterthought. And this, what are some simple ways that you can start to use the professional learning standards in your setting? This is, I think, our last sharing on Nearpod. Yeah, PLCs would be a great opportunity to look at these standards. And the nice thing about that, that link that I showed you that opens up the planning template is it's something that you have available to you, and you can use it in any professional planning that you are doing in your school. I think you guys will really enjoy using that as a template. It will really help you out. Awesome. Emily's going to incorporate them in a faculty meeting in January. That's perfect. Good timing, right? I always think this is actually a really good timing to share these with our teachers. Awesome. Okay. Did everyone have a chance? We're going to move on. So now that you've met the standards, oh, here's a little quiz for you. I'll stop sharing so you can't see each other's scores. All right, we're going to move on. So the Utah Professional Learning Standards are design standards to ensure professional learning for educators, that the professional learning that for educators reaches students. And they support USBE to be in the USBE strategic plan. And they are required if you want to offer credit for professional learning, which we probably don't do enough of. So when you learn about the standards, you'll learn how to offer that credit within your schools. And I think it's great to, oh, I'm not sharing, am I? It's great to be able to offer that credit because then first of all, you can make sure that the professional learning that is happening in your school is meeting those standards. I do, like I said, I'm a letters facilitator for the region, and so I just am doing one in a district that I haven't done yet because it's Unit 5. I've just been doing 1 through 4 so far, but in January I'm doing a Unit 5, and the district, they had me fill out the professional learning standard. They have a form for their district. They wanted to know, and it's what they do, and so I thought that's great. I'm happy to do that. I think it's really great. So so what you're going to do, call to action, read the professional learning standards toolkit document, and as you read it, identify who that you could share this document with, and then share it with them and explain what the standards are and what their purpose is. Like, it could be your whole faculty, it could be your principal, it could be a team of teachers. So you're going to do that, and then we're just gonna skip this one because I told you we'd be done around 5 minutes, a little past 5. So we're just going to finish off by talking about just kind of the overview of Module 4. You're going to read the Mirage and then contribute to the discussion board. And like I said, it's several pages, like 70 pages, maybe, I don't know, maybe not that many, but it's pretty long. So don't do that sooner than later, I guess is what I'm saying. Complete the Meet the Standards deep dive Nearpod assignments. So there's each of the 8 standards has a little Nearpod deep dive that you can do, and then do the call to action that we just talked about, where you're going to share what you learned about those standards with someone, and then be sure to complete all assignments in this course. I'm giving you until February 1st. Even though we are really done with this, and they're really due, I forgot, the day before our next meeting in January, but I've got it open until February 1st, because there's a few people with some extenuating circumstances that needed a little bit more time. So that is it. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to stay here and answer them the best that I can. I hope that you all have a wonderful Christmas and can now be done and start your Christmas vacation officially.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Hey, Teresa, when is the next online class?
I will tell you. 1 second. That's a good question. It is January, and it's
day after Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah, January 17th.
I know that there's a couple of us on here that are letters facilitators for Davis School District. So we may be a little late because we are doing letters from until 3:30 that day. So just to give you a heads up, if there's a couple of us on here that are coming in a little late, that's why.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Oh, fine. All righty. Take care, you guys. Have a great holiday.
So Teresa, I just wanted to talk to you for just a minute.
Sure.
So I haven't been feeling well. I've been out of school for a week and a half. And because I now have pneumonia.
Oh no.
So I'm getting
so
over
sorry.
it and I'm starting to feel better. But I saw somewhere that you're offering letters unit 1 for teachers who haven't had it yet.
Yes.
I haven't been at my schools to make sure that everyone has had unit 1. Would I have time by the time I get back on January 4th to find that information out?
Yes, because it's Friday the 6th.
Yes, I saw that.
And
I just wanted them to have time to sign up.
As long as let me know. I think I still have like 12 spots open or something like that. I can't have more than 40.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, so I've still got plenty. I think probably plenty of spots. Just let me know and I'll send them an email with the Zoom link and everything for it.
Okay. I'll when I get back on January 4th after the break, that's the first thing I'll work on is make sure everybody has had unit 1.
Sounds
So,
good. All right. I hope you feel better.
Oh, thank you. You know what? To tell you the truth, this class has been so nice because it's like, I finally get my mind, back on to work and on something different than feeling kind of lousy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, good. Awesome. Very good. All right. Well, take care.
You too. And I hope you have a Merry Christmas.
Thanks.
All
You
right.
too.
Bye-bye.
All right, Jason, are we good?
We're good. Merry Christmas. Have a good one.
Thanks. You too. See you later.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.